How much is it? I'd like to change money at $350.
Ah, sí.
Peso.
You change money de
Yeah.
euro
Euro?
o dólar. O dólar.
Dollar.
Dólares.
Dollars. Ah.
A really cheap tour in the car around the city for you. I give
Yeah.
you the best price because you are just one person.
How much is it?
How much could you pay? You can put the price.
25.
20 for you.
20?
20, and we will see.
Oh.
All the Malagon Street, the New Havana, the
Uh.
forest in the center, the Revolution Square, Havana University, the Fifth Avenue.
Oh.
Also in the way I can give you some information about the buildings, about the monuments, about the places. It's a nice price in a classic.
How long does it take? 1 hour?
I give you maybe 1 hour 20. For me, it's the same. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. You know, it's the same price.
Okay, okay. Which is your course?
It's 1954 Chevrolet. Fuchsia. Fuchsia.
This one? Okay.
You will see in the Revolution Square in the forest. We can stop and I take picture for you in the car. are a really big economic development in Japan.
Yes.
Not in Cuba, you know, we have a big problem. It's true.
How is living in Cuba?
In Cuba, you know, the salary, the big problem here is the salary because it's too low. The average and a middle salary, speaking, not the big one, not the lower, the average is about 3,000 Cuban pesos in a month. This is nothing. It's about $10.
$10? Oh.
It's nothing, my friend. What is the average salary in Japan?
Maybe
1,000 in a month?
1,000
Dollars, speaking in dollars.
Yeah, dollars.
But you have the national money in Japan.
Yes.
What is the
Yen, yes.
You can buy with yens everything in Japan.
Yeah.
With dollars also. You can pay dollars or yens, whatever.
All the places we can use the yen.
Yens. Hotels. This is the Central Park Hotel, Plaza Hotel,
Plus hotel.
the Apple Hotel.
Apple hotel. Oh.
This building here is the Universal Art Museum. Drink here daiquiris. Mojito and daiquiris. They are a sculpture of Hemingway inside the bar. In this yacht, in this boat, Fidel, Raúl, they came from Mexico to build the revolution. They buy the yacht, the boat in Mexico, and they came to make the revolution. Maybe.
What's the animal? Lion.
The lion. Yes. The fortress was built in colonial times for the protection of the city against the pirates' attack. I'm speaking slowly for you.
Thank you. Can I see the attack in night?
It's better to visit in the night because they are a traditional ceremony. The cannon shoot ceremony. Now, in the day, it's just a museum. You spend too many time inside, you know? But in the night, it's the ceremony.
At night?
Yeah, at night. But remember, it's 9 o'clock, the cannon shoot. But you have to stand in the fortress about 8:30.
8:30.
8:30 in the night, you get a taxi or a bus and you visit.
Okay.
And you see the ceremony. It's beautiful. It's traditional. Today is a little mess.
People in Cuba can get the food for free.
Well, no, don't listen to me. They are like a little notebook for rations. But we have to pay. Maybe cheaper than in the street. But you have to pay anyway. But it's cheaper than in the street. You know?
How much is it?
But right now, no. Right now, you cannot get nothing. For example, in a month, by person, you can take 3 pounds of rice. You know, rice. 1 pound of beans. 4 pounds of sugar. No more. In a month. Come on, this is nothing, my friend. Here is the National Hotel.
National Hotel.
National Hotel is the classic here. Before the revolution, the main mafia hotel.
Mafia.
Al Capone, Lucky Luciano, Meyer Lansky, they were the owners of the hotel. Maybe use Japanese many islands. It's like here, a lot of humidity.
Yes.
What about the people in Japan? Is friendly or? I know you have another ideology. You know?
Yeah.
It's different, like us.
Yes.
But it's good people or?
And,
Well, I know everywhere there are good and bad people. Everywhere. Every countries there are good and bad people.
and
But,
people in
you know,
Cuba are friendly.
Cuban people is
Yeah,
friendly.
yes.
It's our way here.
Uh,
Here to the left is a football stadium.
football.
Football. But really, our national sport is baseball.
Oh, baseball, yeah.
Because
And-
we take the baseball from the North America.
Do you know Lionel Martinez?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
It's a really good player.
Oh,
But Japan have a really good league
Yeah.
of baseball.
yes.
One of the best in the world. Wow.
Can I see a baseball game?
Well, maybe we are on season, but in the city there are a stadium, the main stadium of baseball. But you have to take a look if there are some play here.
How much is it?
Maybe 20 Cuban pesos.
Oh,
It's nothing. No, it's
cheap.
cheap, very cheap. I don't know, maybe for you $5. I don't know.
$5.
Now it's just Riviera
Riviera.
because belong to the government. you know. The Spaniards, they built this little fort to control when the ships go in and go out of the river. In colonial times, of course. Now it's a disco bar. Let me make a toast. No guns in the street, no guns.
Oh,
Just army and police.
police.
Not the people. People have no guns.
Japan también.
Yeah, it's the same. That's good.
Yes. Estudiando español, pero
Oh,
es
el
muy
español es
difícil.
complicado. It's complicated, my friend.
Yeah.
English is more easy.
Yes.
Because, you know, in Spanish, for example, for you
Yeah.
understand me, this is why I learn English. In English, you can say, for example, I drink, you drink,
Yes.
we drink.
Yes.
It's the same word, you
Yeah.
know? But in Spanish, the word change all the time.
Yes.
Yo bebo,
Bebo.
tú bebes,
Yes.
nosotros bebemos. It's different all the
Yes.
time. What I think Japanese is the same.
Yes. It's
How do you say I drink, you drink in Japanese?
飲む、
Uh-huh.
飲む、
You drink.
飲む、飲む。
It's the
It's the
different
same.
pronunciation.
うん、
We drink.
うん。
How do you say we drink in Japanese?
私たちは飲みます。
Come on. I turn crazy learning Japanese. Now we are going to visit the forest.
これ。
In the center is like a natural park with a
Natural.
river crossing this river. It's a beautiful place. For example, a Toyota here from the 2020 Toyota,
Yes.
maybe 90 used car, not new, used car, $90,000, $80,000.
おお。
Used car, not new, because Toyota is a really good brand.
Yes.
I think it's the best in Japan.
Yes.
The second is Nissan.
Yeah. Nissan is cheaper than Toyota.
Cheaper, yes, yes. But what, you have another brand in Japan?
なんだろう。三菱
But Mitsubishi is
Yeah.
good also.
and
Mitsubishi is 3 diamonds.
忘れたいもんね。
The meaning.
Yes, yes. And Yamaha.
Oh, no.
It's famous for
You have
bike.
the best bikes in the
Best
world.
bike, yes.
Kawasaki, Suzuki,
Kawasaki,
Yamaha.
Suzuki, yes.
No, this is the best. This is really the best motorcycles in the world. Well, you know, a Yamaha here, old Yamaha, not new.
Oh, no new. Oh.
$30,000, $40,000.
40,000.
But Yamaha is really good.
Yes.
When you are in the street with a Japanese
Japanese.
in Cuba, oh, the girls. Oh, yeah. And you know the sound of the engine.
Engine.
Woo, woo, woo. It's very good, very nice. I like it. But I have no money to buy a Yamaha, my friend.
Yes.
It's too expensive. 3 have about 150 years old.
Oh.
150
50
years old.
Too old.
this park, the name is Almendares Park.
Parque.
Parque Almendares. In the weekend, the families come here with children because there are some child activities here.
Children play here.
Sí. It's very safe, very quiet. You come with your family here. You take a lunch.
But there is no there.
No, it's safe. No problem. And bears? No bears? Panda? No panda.
There are a lot of bears.
A lot? Then it's dangerous if you go to camping?
Yes.
You must be careful.
Yes. North of the
Sometimes
Japan.
wild animals attack.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Some people die.
Some people die? Ooh. But you cannot take guns? No.
Yes.
Or you need a license?
I hear people have a license and have a gun.
For hunting?
Yes.
Like hunters?
Yes.
Get a picture here in the bridge.
Okay.
Borrow me the cell phone. Porque
Because
Chinese don't practice the Catholic religion. And now we will see the big one, but in the big one, just Catholics. Vamos a ver ahora el más grande, ¿no? Pero como los chinos no practican el catolicismo, no católicos, pues aquí en este solamente los católicos. This is why the Chinese build his own cemetery. Por eso los chinos construyeron su propio cementerio. El cementerio tiene alrededor de 4 kilómetros.
4 kilómetros.
Cuadrados. It's huge. En Japón se conservan mucho las tradiciones.
Tradiciones.
Es tradicional, un país tradicional.
Es tradicional.
En la familia también.
A la familia.
The family is important. And also traditions are important in Japan.
Importante en Japón.
Cuba is also a familiar people. Very, very familiar. This is the main gate, the main entrance of the cemetery.
Bonito.
Es bonito. Una arquitectura muy bonita. Aunque Japón tiene unos lugares históricos, ¿cómo se llaman las casas? Las pagodas.
Pagoda.
Beautiful, really beautiful. I see also it's in spring, maybe in primavera, de los cerezos. The color is pink.
Pink, yes.
Beautiful. You know, I saw on TV, just on movies. Sometimes I spend 6 hours in a line. You see, this is the line continues.
In Myanmar?
The gas station is forward.
In
Japan,
Myanmar,
no line.
no line. But in Myanmar, it's also in line.
Yeah. How much a liter? Gasoline liter? How much? 1 liter.
1 liter.
In dollars, of course.
$1.
$1?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
And how much is it?
1 liter in Cuba is about $120, $130. For us, it's a lot. It's too expensive. And also, this car is high fuel consumer. You know, the car drink gasoline like mojito. Every 3 days, I have to make the line again. I work 3 days and the line. 3 days and the line. Why? You know why? Because in Cuba, you cannot fill the tank. Just 40 liters.
40 liters.
No more. 40.
40. In Japan it's also
40 liters.
Yeah, 40 liters.
If you want more, you have to make the line again. It's the same in Japan.
Yeah, same. Yes. Maybe
you cannot fill the tank
the full tank is 40 in Japan.
in Japan. Well, of course, the new cars, you know, 1 liter is maybe 20 kilometers. In
Yes.
this car, 1 liter, 6 kilometers. It's a dragon. drinking gasoline. We are arriving to the Revolution
Square.
Yes, we are going to stop in the parking and I will explain you the place. Yes, I will explain you now. What about Che Guevara? Part of the history.
Is that Che Guevara?
Che Guevara was not born in Cuba. He was Argentine. But I will explain you now.
He works as a doctor, right?
The people like?
He worked as a doctor.
No. He was a fighter here. He joined to Fidel in Mexico to make the revolution. After the revolution, he became he had many works. He was president of the bank, president of the Justice Ministry, also president of Mine and Energy Ministry. But now I tell you the history. He was the thinker, the starter of the independence war in Cuba against the Spaniards, against the colony. The tower have a shape like a star. When you take a look over, it's like a star. The low level is a museum, and the top is an observatory. You know what is observatory?
Spectatory.
It's the highest point in the city. 142 meters.
Too high.
The building with the face of Che is a interior ministry. We have police, army, and interior ministries like FBI in Cuba.
FBI.
No? Che Guevara was Argentine, I told you. He joined to Fidel in Mexico for the revolution. After the revolution, he worked in many places, I told you. After, he went to Africa, to El Congo, to make more revolution. But in Africa was not the same. He returned to Havana and went to Bolivia. In Bolivia, he died. This is the communication ministry. The face is Camilo Cienfuegos. He's another national hero here. The National Library.
National Library.
Army building, defense ministry. And behind the tower, the minister building. If you want, you can walk and take some picture, and after you return, and we take picture in the car.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
I'm here. Well, I hope
reservación.
$5.
$5, ¿no? Three. ¿Ah?
Sin Lamborghini. Papi.
Ah,
Remember?
azúcar.
Caña.
Ah,
Natural. Jugo natural. You know have peso Cuba? You have peso Cuba?
no pescuba.
No change?
Change.
Change, yeah. Change in the house.
Yeah.
$1, 300. $1 American,
Yeah.
300 pesos.
Ah.
Avenue
Avenue.
Jesus Menendez.
Ah.
Finish Malecon. Bacardi.
Bacardi.
Bacardi cup. Bacardi. In the bottle, there. It's a beer, Bacardi. Beer, Bacardi.
Oh.
Look. I not possible. The house. The house price.
Ah, price.
Expensive or very cheap? Decente.
Vicente.
Depend the house.
Ah,
$15.
$15.
$12.
Ah,
1 to 9.
1 to 9.
Yeah. My sister, the house.
Oh.
It's a good price. This is the cathedral,
Ah, cattedra.
the center part. Está en contra, está llorando.
Así mismo, compadre.
Ah, yeah. Similar para Cuba.
Ah.
Para Cuba, similar. For there. For me, impossible, for there. It's the office conservation city. In Cuba, no dinner.
Oye, coco de agua, plátano verde, acelga. Vamos a la guayá, burro.
por el principio y tú terminas en el final. Porque esto al final con terminar. Final con terminar. Final con terminar. Eso que tú tienes, eso que tú tienes.
¿Vas a comer? ¿Vas a comer?
Comer, ya.
He loved play all time.
même au même lieu, limite, et ben, bah, c'est sûrement. J'en suis sûre. Ouais, je crois. Vas-y, tu checkes ça.
Con la sardina, ¿no?
¿No te cuadra un taxi?
Taxi.
Taxi, mismo recorrido. Taxi.
Taxi.
No,
No sé.
comprende. A la campana.
Campana. Ah. Ok.
Tanque de agua. Museo.
Museo. Ah.
Tanque de guerra, motor.
아.
Tomas,
토마스.
tú, te metes.
메테스. 오.
Cerveza.
cerveza. 아.
Oh, buena cerveza.
cerveza, vino.
refrescante.
mojito.
Una cervecita ahora rico, ¿eh?
오.
A 70 la barrita, hay de leche.
Nunca vi que